Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. My name's Crafty Kathy. I'm the owner and creator of Kit's Vintage Farmhouse in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I am so happy and thankful that you stopped in to craft and spend a little time with me today. Guys, I have made 5 gorgeous Dollar Tree wood DIYs, and they look really high-end. They were quick to make, and they don't look tacky or cheap. They look gorgeous. So, without further ado and all my blabbing, let's get on into it. For the first DIY, we're going to start out with these 2 MDF boards. Now, MDF is not solid wood. It's an engineered wood. It's made from wood fibers and resin and wax, and they melt it all down. Now, it's still sturdy, and it still paints well. The big difference is it's a lot cheaper, and that's why Dollar Tree has it. But it still works great for the projects that we use it for. So what I'm going to do is take off the 2 little hangers off of the back of these because we don't need them. And we are going to take our color bead board by DIY Paint, and I'm just going to give it a messy coat. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm only going to give it 1 coat. That's going to be plenty enough. And I'm just covering the front surface. Now, my little bottles that I've been using to keep my paint in from the Dollar Tree, they are working out great, and I love them, and it spits out just the perfect amount of paint, in case you're wondering. I'm very happy that I purchased these. I grabbed my Waverly Antique Wax, and I'm just going to go around the edges of my plaques here. Now, my antique wax probably has 25% of the actual wax in it, and the other 75% is water. I have it very, very watered down because that's the way that I like mine. I do have one for if I need, a little bit thicker at times, but for the most part, this works out perfect for me. And I just wanted to let you guys know in case you notice that mine's a little bit lighter. So like I said, I just go around the edges, not looking for perfection. I basically like to use kind of a little splash of the wax, and then I will take a baby wipe and just kind of wipe it off and even out the color so it's nice and rustic every time. We're going to use some of this beautiful rice paper that I get from my friend Brandy. Her channel is the DIY Struggle, and a lot of you watch her, I know. And she has been making her own rice paper and her own transfers, and I'm very proud of her, and I just want to show off some of her work. It's so nice, and it's beautiful, and it's at a great price point. I'll put her information in the comments section and down below so that she's easy to find, so you can go get you some if you want some. I just lay it down where I want it to go and kind of push in with my fingernail to get the pattern there that I need to get. What I'm going to do is just spray the end of a very small detailed brush, and I'm going to go kind of around the area where I made the indentation here, because if you go right on the area, you're going to end up tearing more than you want off of there. So I just wet the end of my brush, and I go around, and then I'm just going to tear off where I need to. It came out almost perfect. I like to have just a little bit of an overhang because it's better to have more than less in this situation. I'm using just a regular glue stick to decoupage this down. That way, in case I ever want to change it out, I can. I'm using my nifty little brayer that I get from Lori over at Milton's Daughter, and I'm just using it to make sure that we have a really good adhesion. It's always best to cut this when it's totally dry, but for time's sake, I had to move on, so I went ahead and cut it with my X-Acto knife. Now, those purple glue sticks, you know that they're totally dry when the color goes away. And I have to say, it's so much easier to cut when it is dry. I found this little wooden bless sign that came from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just using what's left on my antique wax brush, and I'm just going to kind of brush over it. I want to take just a minute to welcome you to my channel. If this is the first time you've ever been here, we are so glad that you stopped in to spend a little time with us and craft. I would love for you to subscribe and become a part of our family. We always have room for more. And also, if you're enjoying this video so far, please give it a big thumbs up. And I would love for you to leave me a comment of which one of these DIYs is your favorite. Even if it's just a heart emoji, it really helps out my channel to comment. And I appreciate every one of you guys so much. Now, that brown was just not doing it for me. So I took my black velvet, which is a DIY paint color, and just a very small brush. And I very sloppily just kind of brushed it over in this black. I thought that it would stick out more, and I was definitely right. It does look better in my opinion. And I'm just going to take my Type Bond wood glue and I'm going to place this right smack dab in the middle and up toward the top of my beautiful little plaque. Now we need to grab 2 of these little wood pallets, and yes, these are Dollar Tree also, and we're going to place the Type Bond wood glue on the sides of them and on the little side of that I don't know how you would explain that little back piece there. And we're going to put it on both sides because we're making a box out of these. And I like to smear mine in with my finger. I'm a messy crafter anyways, but to me, it just gets in there so much better. And then you can literally just stand it up and place it together. Now, I left this alone overnight and let it dry, and this is the next day. I didn't want to leave the other side of my crate with nothing on it. So we're going to use some transfers that comes from my friend Brandy. These are the ones that I was telling you about. She has the rice paper and the transfers. Now she sent me these transfers, and I know Brandy, she's a good friend of mine, and she doesn't just put her name on any junk. This is the first time that I've tried these out, so we'll see how they work and if they're as good as she says they are. But knowing Brandy, I know that she's going to put her heart and soul into these. Now, I just cut off the piece that I want. You pull off that white backing on the back. If you've never used a transfer before, you lay them down and then you use a scraper tool. They come in different forms. You can use one that's like a credit card. She sends one of those with it. The little plastic stick here that I'm using comes with the IOD transfers. And then, honestly, one of my favorite methods of putting these transfers on has always been my fingernail. It just gets the job done, you know. Then after you've rubbed all over the surface of your transfer, you just pull up that top piece of plastic very slowly, and you have a beautiful transfer on your project. I figured that I might as well put some type of wording on the back in case I want to flip this around. Just like I had on the front, I had blessed on the front. So I thought, well, we'll put grateful on the back. And then I just put a couple of other little transfers here and there, just wherever I thought that they would look good. And I do have to throw in there that I'm amazed with the quality of these transfers. I've bought transfers off of Amazon before that have been total crap and wouldn't stick to any of my projects, and I can't stand that. These stuck really well for the price point that they are. I mean, these are a fraction of the cost of other transfers, and I really do like them. She has beautiful patterns, and I am very proud of her and the work that she's doing. So now we've got this beautiful plant box, or whatever you want it to be, with all the sides on it, but we don't have a bottom. So you just grab whatever type of signage from the Dollar Tree that you have, and we'll just make our own little bottom for it. Now these that I'm using are super easy to cut. I just made a little mark exactly where I needed it to go with my pencil, and then I just went across it like 2 times with my knife, and it cut right off. I used my little finger sander to straighten up any rough edges, and then I'm just going to grab my Type Bond wood glue, and I'm going to put a small strip of that around the sides, around all the edges really. But I did leave a couple little spots where I could add some hot glue too, just a tiny amount of hot glue. Now, don't mix those together because it'll cancel each other out. And you just lay your little box on top of there and leave it alone and let it totally dry. It usually takes a couple of hours. I did take a baby wipe to kind of clean up any areas where I got glue all over the place. I took some more of my Waverly Antique Wax on my little chippy brush, and I'm going to go around those sides because remember earlier we did not color those, or we did not put the brown wax on those. So I do it just like I did before, just kind of put a messy quick coat on and use my baby wipe to even it out. And I went ahead and went all the way around the box with this just so that everything would look good and cohesive and match up. And to finish off my project, I took some of my permanent black ink. This is one of my favorite things to do. I just think it gives it a lot of character. And I just went all the way around the edges on the tops. You use it as at a slant, and it just makes the most beautiful, subtle difference in your project. I hope you like this one.
She thinks I'm a little lazy. I think she's a little crazy. We like summer and we like spring, watching wrestling in the ring. She ain't shy, she speaks her mind, tough as nails and smooth as wine. We burn hot as kerosene, baby, we got our own thing. She ain't skinny and I ain't tall, and that don't bother us at all. I run naked through the yard, she'd flash every police car, drinking wine and getting tired, shooting out the damn street lights. How does she put up with me? Oh, baby, we got our own thing. We got our own thing.
For DIY number 2, we're going to make a beautiful wreath for our door. I'm going to use this bicycle wheel frame. Of course, it came from the Dollar Tree. It is a 14-inch. And here's where some options come in. We need to place something in the middle. You can use one of these from the Dollar Tree. You can even use the thicker piece of wood. I'm going to use this. It came from Dollar General. I got it when it was 50% off, so I only paid $1.50 for it. And it's already got like the words and exactly what I want on the front, so it's kind of a win-win situation. Some folks say that farmhouse is dead, but have y'all seen the front porch to my craft studio? Y'all know what I'm talking about that's been hanging around this channel for a long time. I have like a 1950-something wash machine out there, and I have all these old things like hanging on the building. I'll actually show you at the end because guess what? Your girl cleaned it off. So, back to the video. What we're going to do is take some of this, just the Dollar Tree twine, and we are just going to go around a couple of times. Now, I'm just going to put one little bitty bit of glue, and then I'm just going to wind it around. What's going to hold our sign on is going to be the twine. So just wrap it around there just as tight as you squeeze your mama. And just when you get around about 4 or 5 times, then you're going to put another little bitty bit of glue. And I like to put glue in place because it'll also keep that twine from sliding, and it's going to hold your sign exactly where you want it at. Now make sure that you put your twine on both sides to hold that sign real good. And what I like about these bicycle wreaths is you could put a sign kind of higher up in the middle or even down toward the bottom. With all those spokes, you can tie it on there pretty much any way you want it on there, depending on how you're going to have your florals. And that's why I really do like these. But I chose to stick mine right smack dab in the middle. Now here is where you let your creativity shine, and we're going to gussy it up and make it pretty, and you can do whatever colors you want. I always like to put some type of greenery on here, and seems like I always go for these lamb's ear from Walmart. To me, they're just kind of they're a simple choice, but they're so pretty. I mean, they're just one of my favorite greeneries that there is. And so they bend. All of these are going to have the wire in them, so they're going to bend. And you just kind of bend them and just go about however you like yours. Now, you guys know that I buy a lot of my florals from Temu, and that's where these are from. I've got like a peachy pink color and a white color. Now, for whatever reason, I have cut these Temu flowers down kind of short, but that ain't going to bother me none. I'm just going to put them exactly the way that I want them. And the way that I put my florals on, in case you've never watched one of my videos before, is what goes up must come down. And what I mean by that is if I put one in one spot on the top, I'm going to put that same color in the exact same spot down on the bottom. It's pretty much like you match it up. When you put one of your flowers or your greenery down on one side, you go to the opposite side in the exact same place and put that same one there. It just makes it look more uniform. It makes it look more put together. So whatever you put on one side, just remember to go to the opposite side and put the same one there. I just think that that makes it look more uniform and put together. Now, if you have an odd number, say you got 3 flowers, you can put 2 up at the top and 1 down at the bottom, or vice versa. Just whatever is pleasing to your eye. It's your project, and if you like it a certain way, then that's what you do, by golly. Now, I'm just pulling off these leaves that come on these Temu flowers. Oh my goodness, I don't know what y'all think about the Temu flowers. I think the flowers themselves are, for the most part, beautiful. But those leaves, honey, they ain't fooling nobody. I love this wire from Hobby Lobby. I get it when it's half off. I think it comes half off. Don't quote me on that. But its original price is just $3.99, and it's worth its weight in gold. It's like a bread tie, and it cuts itself. And I'm just going to wrap it around my little greenery here because I've already fixed it exactly how I want it to go. I've already pretty much bent it in the direction I want it to go and everything. So all I got to do is just tie it up. But before I do, I'm going to use that bread tie floral wire thing, and I'm just going to tie it to the side of my little bicycle wheel, and it's on there. It's not going anywhere. Now we're going to make a very simple bow, and we're going to be done with this baby. I got this ribbon off of Amazon back years ago when farmhouse was the craze, and I'm still using it. I have farm animals, and so I like it. I thought at first that this black and white one here was going to look really good kind of as a second one. But then when I pulled it down together, and we're just making a cause bow here, you just kind of make like a figure 8 and just kind of smoosh it together in the middle. Now, I didn't really like the way that black and white looked. I thought, my goodness, so I pulled it off there. Now, the one with the farm animals on it does have wire in it, which makes it so much easier to make your ribbons and bows, especially if you're bow challenged. You definitely want to use the ones that have the wire in them. They just hold their shape better, and it's just so much easier. So I'm just going to take some of the twine from the Dollar Tree and tie it a few times. And I'm going to cut dovetails in these. It usually just kind of depends on my mood if I make dovetails or not. The way that I remembered to do my dovetails is when you put your 2 pieces together, the sides that have like the sewn look are the sides that you want to be the longest. And it just makes it a little bit easier to cut that way. Now all I have to do is tie my beautiful ribbon on here, and then I'm going to fluff it out a few times until my eyes are happy, and I hope you like this one. The third DIY is going to be a little bit quicker, and it is gorgeous. I'm going to take some of these palettes, and you can also use different options. They do have a larger palette that has a hanger on it at the Dollar Tree, which I think would look really good with this. but I only had one. So you're going to need 4 of these pallets for this project. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to glue these together. We're going to use our Titebond Quick and Thick like we did before. And we are simply going to put it down on the side here and across. Like I said before, I like to use my finger. It doesn't take a lot for these to get that good hold. Try to wipe off any of the excess glue that may come out of the little edges and creases. You can wrap these with masking tape to hold them together, but I'm going to use these fancy smancy clamps and just leave it alone overnight and let it dry. And I think I totally forgot to mention, you do that with both sets. And so here's the next day where I take my clamps off, and look how sturdy they are. That Titebond Quick and Thick is amazing. I'm going to take my very watered down Waverly Antique Wax that I used before, and you see how I just put it on kind of real messily. I just get enough on there to where I can get that baby wipe and rub it in. I like mine to have just a little bit of a lighter color, and this achieves that look for me. And don't forget to do the sides and that bottom part, because you will see it. And do this on both sets. Now I'm about to pull out a blast from the past. Do you guys remember a couple of years ago, these beautiful milk bottles that came out at the Dollar Tree? It's probably been about, I don't know, maybe 3 years ago, and I promise you I haven't seen them since. I can't find them in my Dollar Tree for nothing. But thankfully, I really never did anything with these because I was waiting on the perfect project to use them, and I think this is it. We're going to use my DIY paint in the color Beadboard. It's my favorite off-white color. It's not as stark as a bright white, but it is perfect. And I started off with the paintbrush, and then I thought, what in the world am I doing? The best way to paint glass will always be to use a sponge or to use a dauber. Now, you know how the paint on glass can kind of chip off kind of easily. I promise you, if you do it with a dauber or a sponge, it will not chip off as easily. And if you use DIY paint products, they never chip off anyways. And by the way, if you do want to try out some of this DIY paint or a lot of the higher end products that you see me use on my channel, I get them at Milton's daughter. My buddy Lori owns the store. It's up in New York, and she's amazing at customer service. I'll leave her information in the comment section and down below so that she is easy to find in case you want to try some. Now, she sent me some of these pentart antique paste. You guys know that I love that wax paste from Pentart. To me, it's just like the Rub and Buff. Now, this antiquing paste, I have been dying to try it. It comes in these beautiful colors, and this one is like a brown color, and I've just been wanting to see what it does. My preferred method will always be to use my finger to put any of this stuff on with. I just think it does the job. It gets right in there. It's just easy, and it's a win-win. So what I did was just kind of rub all around on the raised surfaces that was like the writing, and just kind of here and there, anywhere where I thought that a little bit of antiquing was needed. I did that to both of the bottles, and I sat back and looked at them, and I still felt like I wanted to add black to it. So I just grabbed my stamp pad. It is a permanent ink, and I just kind of went all around the raised surfaces there and anywhere else where I thought that that black would look good. And I kind of rubbed it in a little bit in some spots with my finger just to kind of get the shading exactly the way that I wanted it. But, you know, you do this to your taste. If you like just the brown, that's great. Or if you like just the black, that'll work too. It's totally going to be your project, so you just do whatever makes you happy, and you do you, boo. Now this project is going to come together really fast and very easy. So you just figure out where you want your jar to go. Now, if you can't find the milk bottles, like I can't find them anymore, you can use a mason jar. You can use any type of jar that has a lip like this so that this twine can hold it. All I did is pull off a really good piece of that twine, and you see I wound it around one direction and then I wound it around the other direction of the bottle. And I'm going to stand my bottle up and I'm going to pull that little bit of the twine through there that I have left, and I'm simply just going to tie it a couple of times. I'm going to tie it, I think I tied mine about 3 or 4 times just to make sure that it was not going anywhere. But just in case it tries to get sly on us and does try to slide around, we're going to put a little bit of hot glue on the back of it right here, and that is just going to hold it where it's not going to move. If you're going to put this outside, don't use hot glue. Just use something like some E6000 or something like that, and it won't go anywhere. You know you can't use that hot glue outside, because if it gets as hot as it does here in Tennessee, honey, that glue will melt within day 1 of having it hanging out there. Now I'm just going to go back and tie that other bottle just like I did that first one, no different, and tie it a couple of times on the back. And guys, you got yourself a project. Super easy and beautiful. These are pretty every time. I buy these little hangers off of Amazon. These are the easiest things to hang anything, I promise you. Even if you do not get them like perfect and they're all crooked, they're still gonna hang the right way. They are so easy, it takes very little effort. You just pop it in with a little hammer or a little mallet and boom, 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 you're done.
I'd rather go. You're a funny little critter and I love you so, and I wanna take a ride in the wheelbarrow in your mind. I come and sit down with me in a rocking chair. Coffee pot is nice and hot. We can sit in our underwear.
The next one is short and sweet. We have this beautiful MDF board, and it's a hanger also, but we're going to cut that right off because we don't need it. Now, I always keep those beads, and, you know, you can use those for a later project. I have a whole bead jar full of just Dollar Tree ones that I've accumulated over the time. So I have some different shapes here. I have some larger ones, smaller ones, and medium ones. We're going to take the medium-sized ones, and we're just going to place them all around the top part of our little wood round here. Before I glue mine down, I always like to just lay them down and see what it's going to look like, make sure it looks right and looks even, and I'm covering up those little holes on the top. And I just used some hot glue to put these down because of time's sake for the video. However, I do suggest highly, if you want like a permanent hold or a stronger hold, use some E6000 or even like use some of the wood glue. I would probably choose wood glue over the E6000 even because it is wood. But you just do whatever floats your boat. And I'm just, like I said, using the hot glue only because of time's sake for the video. We're going to make a little tray out of this, like a little riser, and we've got some more options here. I'm going to use the little angels that comes out at Christmas from the Dollar Tree. Just about all the different shapes that comes out at Christmas, you can use just about every one of those as little feet risers. You can use little spools. You can use the little, like little logs that they have that come out, just whatever. Now we're going to take our grill, eat, chill, and repeat. That's my beautiful beadboard color DIY paint. And once again, I'm just putting kind of like a half-hearted coat on here. I'm not trying to go for perfection because I like that rustic look with a little bit of that brown peeking through the bottom. And so I'm going to go around, make sure I get all of my beads real good, get those covered up, and just get a light layer to go across the bottom portion of my little riser. And don't forget to turn it on its side and go ahead and paint the sides, and also paint those little feet because they'll stick out like a sore thumb if you don't. I enjoyed those transfers so much from my friend Brandy at the DIY struggle that we used at the first of the video that we're going to use them again. I cut off this large area because I love this typography. I just like things that have like words in the background. I think it's beautiful, and it's really going to stand out with this white background. So I'm going to do this transfer just like you do every transfer. You lay it down and you use your special little stick to rub the transfer. I like to hold the edge of mine up while I'm going along because I think it makes it go quicker. And these things stick really good to this dried paint, and it just comes out beautiful every time. Just look at that. It turned out so pretty for such little effort. You know, that's kind of how I like it sometimes. I like my DIYs to be quick and easy sometimes. So I'm just going to put a couple of these little leaves along here, and I think that's plenty enough with the transfers. And so I go around with my little ink pad, and at first I started just kind of rubbing over the tops of my little beads, and I like that look. I think it looks rustic, and I go along the sides also, but it just wasn't enough of the black on there for me. So I took some of my DIY black wax, and I really got in there good on those beads. I wasn't going for perfection. I didn't want every little square inch of the beads covered. I just wanted them mostly covered. So I went around my whole project here. Anywhere where I thought a little bit of this black wax might look good, that's exactly where I added it. And I got really black wax happy and started putting a little bit here and there all over my words too, and just rubbing it in really good. And I just absolutely adore the way that this looks. But if you feel that you went a little bit too crazy with the black, just take the white that's left on your paintbrush and just kind of go back over it, and it takes care of that very quickly and easily. And guys, I bet you wouldn't believe it, but this project is done and beautiful. A nice little riser for $1.25. Moving right along to our last DIY of the day, and it is also short and sweet. Now, I love to grab some of these every time that I go into the Dollar Tree. They have different shapes. Here's a square and a round shape, and then they also have like I don't know what you would call that other shape. It's kind of like a square with the sides cut out. So what I'm going to do is just take some of my beadboard that I have left here, and I'm going to go over these, and it took me 2 coats to cover up the words. And once again, we have many options. You can use some rice paper, you can use some stickers, and this is the first time when I pulled out those DIY transfers from my buddy Brandy, and I made a big boo-boo. But I did want to leave it in here so that I could show you guys, so you know not to do the boo-boo that I did. Now, I wanted that bird more than life itself because I thought that was the most beautiful thing on these transfers. You guys that watch my channel know that I love birds. I popped it right on the front, and then I started using my little rubbing stick, and I was like, why isn't it coming off? Like, what is going on? Now, let's just say, lesson learned. I did not have my paint all the way dry. Now, as you guys remember, I used these throughout this video and had no trouble whatsoever on the pieces that I had dried. However, on this piece, I did have a little bit of an issue because I didn't let the paint dry. But it's not the transfer's fault. It's my fault. It's the operator's fault. So I wanted to point that out. These are amazing transfers. You need to get you some. I promise you, you will be happy. Now I'm going to use this really pretty burgundy red color in this antique paste because it matched the little butterfly and it matches the rose. I didn't go crazy with it. I just started off small. That's what I like to do if there's something that I'm not really sure of. And I haven't used this red color before, but I really was digging it the further that I got. So I added a little bit more. And that's how I like to do with these. I start off small, and if I really like it, I'll add more. And then sometimes I don't. It just depends on what mood I'm in. But I really did like the red, and I liked it so much that I decided I think that this would look really good if I pulled out some of that gold color. Now the gold is almost like an goldy bronze. It's not necessarily a bronze itself, and it's not a gold itself. It's almost like a goldy bronze, I guess. And so I liked that look too, and I just kind of rubbed it in with my finger anywhere where I wanted it. And then I thought, I'm going to take the beads that are still on this, and I'm going to put that gold color on them. And boy, I'm glad I did. That's what I was talking about earlier, is sometimes the things that you least expect are the things that really look good and kind of stand out to you and will make a difference. And then sometimes it's our mistakes that we learn from. And let me just let you know, I learned from that mistake. I will never rush a project again and go ahead and try to put a transfer on something that's not all the way dry. That's my mistake, and honey, it still turned out beautiful, and I'm glad that it did. I hope you like it.
I wanna know, where did we go wrong? Could we ever change this song into something beautiful, like the beauty that we've seen? I'm asking your lover, why do you have to be so mean?
If you stuck with me through all of today's video, I just want to thank you so much for stopping in and spending your time with me and crafting with me today. Don't forget that my videos are every Monday and Thursday at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time during the summer months. Also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I sure would love for you to be a part of our family. And if you did like this video, please give me a big thumbs up because that really helps my channel out. And it also helps my channel out if you'll comment, even if it's just an emoji. I would love to know your thoughts and know which one of these was your most favorite one, or what you liked or what you maybe didn't like. Just be nice as always. And don't forget, if you do want to try out some of those rice papers and transfers from my friend Brandy over at the DIY Struggle, I will leave her channel information down below, and I will also leave her website down below where you can go and buy them. If you don't know who Brandy is, you're really missing out because she's amazing. And also I leave the information from Milton's daughter down below so that you can go and get some products from her. You would love her if you ever talk to Miss Lori. Also, I wanted to shout out a channel that I've been watching lately. The name of it is South Fred Vintage, and then it says Amber in parentheses. Now, she doesn't even know I'm alive. I've never spoke to her before, but she's at 880 subscribers, and that first 1,000 is hard to get to. But let's go support her. I'll leave her information down below. I'll see you guys soon, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. Hey there, and welcome to my channel. My name is Crafty Kathy. I'm the owner and creator of Kit's Vintage Farmhouse in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I am so happy and thankful. Lord bless my little heart, I had no idea. Guys, did y'all know that you can click on my face right here and subscribe to my channel if you're on an iPhone or an iPad? You sure can. You can also click on this video, and when this one's finished, it's going to take you right to that next one. I love you guys. God bless you and your families. Bye.